Welcome to the CURES Show, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness for our mind, body, and spirit. And today we are speaking with the Acne Guru about some lesser known ways to really cure acne by addressing the root cause. And we're also going to talk about food and everything that may really be irritating you, because I'm joined by licensed clinical esthetician Danielle Gronich, aka the Acne Guru, also her partner, certified holistic nutritionist Kayleigh Christina. Ladies, I'm so happy to have you. I wish I had known all this back when I was a teenager, but I'm happy to have you on the show now.
We all wish we knew it back then, but here we are.
Yeah. Okay, so Danielle, I want to start with you because you've had an interesting story. I mean, you built this whole company, which we'll get into, about the idea that we really need to know what's going on in the inside of our body with lab testing. We need to know that maybe we're not getting the full story at the dermatologist, but you built it on personal experience. You yourself suffered from acne and actually even tried Accutane, right?
That's correct. I struggled with acne all through my 20s, and I'm still extremely acne prone despite having gone through 3 separate rounds of Accutane. So I've gone through the entire gamut of prescriptions, as well as the holistic approach with estheticians and like working with naturopaths. So I've done it all. And everything is so siloed that nothing actually creates lasting or meaningful change. So we have to look at all areas of the body, internal and external, diet, lifestyle, all of it, and really paint a big picture for people so that they can solve that puzzle for themselves.
Right. We're going to take a deep dive, so I'm excited for that. And Kayleigh, a lot of people, hopefully this is changing a little bit, but back when I was a kid, we were actually told what you eat has nothing to do with your acne. And in fact, as a holistic nutritionist, there are really triggering foods that might even be healthy that could be causing problems for people.
Absolutely. This is something that has been overlooked for years, and it's so important. It's what we educate all of our people on, all of our ClearStem customers, and for that matter, anyone who's struggling with acne, is there are specific foods that are linked to causing acne, and not all the time is acne a hormonal issue. Sometimes it's topicals that you're using, and sometimes it's internally the foods you're eating that are actually causing the acne.
Okay, so we're going to dive in, but Danielle, let me start with you. A lot of us might have gone to, or maybe taken our kids to, a dermatologist when the acne shows up. And you say there are some things that aren't happening at the dermatologist's office that can be a big problem for actually curing the issue.
Oh, there's most things that need to happen aren't happening at the dermatologist's office. And it's nothing about dermatologists. They're working within the system in which they've been trained. And unfortunately, it's a prescription-based, profit-centered medical system that we all live in. And they only get about maybe 12 to 15 minutes with you. And the whole time they're there, their toolkit, their primary toolkit is to match you with prescriptions. There's very little education on diet in medical school. There's very little education on inflammatory triggers that are specifically for acne. Most of the diet talk with medical professionals these days from medical school is about contraindications for the medications and prescriptions they're writing. So the entire internal diet lifestyle factor is pretty much completely overlooked, and it really is just focused on prescriptions. So knowing that firsthand and going through that myself personally for over 10 years gave me a really clear picture of what not to do and how to actually fill the gaps for people that include their day-to-day life and their choices that are actually impacting their skin.
And you've even narrowed down some of the top 3 healthy foods that might be triggered. But let me talk about, Danielle, I want you to answer. And then Kayleigh, what are some of the things as far as diet that we really need to address? Or are there some things we should just start doing right now?
Yeah, the first thing, the top foods that cause acne, the ones that you can immediately remove if you are currently struggling with acne and having a really hard time clearing your skin. The first one is dairy. Dairy is a known acne trigger. People who've been down this road, who've taken it out, then brought it back in, will be the first ones to tell you that dairy can trigger acne. And dairy is just beyond milk and cheese. It's actually hidden in a lot of ingredients. You'll see it in a lot of protein on the go bars labeled as whey protein or whey protein isolate. your favorite smoothie shop after you go to the gym, you always want to ask what protein powder they're using, because if it's not a plant-based protein powder, it most likely is a whey protein powder. So this whey milk protein isolate is hidden in a lot of different beverages and nutrition bars. So it's really important to look for all the culprits. The next one that actually really surprises people is eggs. Eggs are a huge acne trigger for me. This was one of my biggest acne triggers because I was making egg bowls every single morning for breakfast. It's actually the egg whites, surprisingly enough, that are causing the breakouts in people. Egg whites have a protein in it called albumin protein, which is really hard for our lymph system to break down. So you'll see a lot of breakouts around your jawline if you're having eggs. And if you're having dairy, you'll find breakouts right around where you have a mustache and goatee. So if you're having breakouts in those areas, take a look at your dairy and eggs consumption.
Okay, so dairy and eggs. And then, Danielle, I want to talk about, a lot of people who listen to this podcast might be like myself. We're trying to work for our kids and figure it out. Or maybe you're struggling with adult acne. Sugar, it's in everything. Is that a big deal for acne?
It is a huge deal. The topic of food triggers is, we get so excited about it because it is like the biggest thing to think about. And at the top of that list for most people is sugar, and it's carbohydrates. It's when you're having them, what's in your system beforehand. A lot of people have liver issues or sluggish liver, and that results in higher glucose anyway. And then they're waking up and they're doing normal things, normal behavior, like having coffee with your creamer and perhaps like a banana on the go, or breakfast cereals that we all we're trained to eat when we're young, and toast and pastries, and like the typical first meal that most people consume spikes our blood sugar, and it creates a cascade effect of inflammation throughout the day. So that is one of the biggest things that we talk about with people, and where they see the biggest change is when they start regulating their blood sugar. And that can mean having an apple cider vinegar shot in the morning, which does help curb glucose spikes. And it's also simple hacks like keeping some organic turkey in the fridge so you can munch on that as a snack throughout the day, and it gives you a little bit of insurance for the carbs that you will eventually eat.
Right, and so part of this is just like a simple thing is don't eat your simple carbs without a protein with them. Like I'm thinking for my son, trying to not overwhelm him, although now we're talking about eggs being an issue, but some people might be okay with eggs. But I'm trying to make sure he's having like eggs or, some whole grains in the morning, because I don't want to just give him sugar. What's a perfect acne fighting breakfast?
Avocado, some people they're not that hungry in the morning. So it depends on your individuality with that regard. I'll have like a couple of scoops of avocado before I have my coffee, because I do like creamer in my coffee, and that's sugar. So I'll set my system up with water and some healthy fat first. You can also do, a little hack where you add some like olive oil to your coffee. It's actually pretty delicious. So getting some healthy fats in the system first is great. Or organic sausage. Everyone does different with meats, but organic grass-fed sausage is a great alternative to eggs, and it's more delicious. Nobody's going to miss the eggs if they get their sausage.
Okay. And again, I want to go, Kayleigh, not everybody is allergic to eggs, or pretty much if you have acne, you need to worry about it in your book.
Correct. Our biggest thing that we always promote is we never want to create fear of foods in any way. This is simply to help people who are currently struggling with acne, that are so overwhelmed and frustrated, trying to figure out what their root cause is. We're trying to bring those to people's attention so they can guess and check for themselves. So for instance, eggs can be a huge problem for people who are acne prone. There's other people who are not acne prone that eggs are an amazing source of protein for them. Because I love eggs so much, but I'm more acne prone, I'll actually sometimes once a week, I'll treat myself and I'll just do egg yolk omelet. So I'll actually leave out the whites and just go for the yolk. But again, eggs are an amazing source of protein. People who are more acne prone just need to be aware that they are a top trigger for acne.
Okay, so we got to be careful with that. And then let's talk about your company just for a minute here, in that you both came together, one from the world of nutrition, one from the world of suffering from acne. I guess both of you might have had your acne issues, but you created something called Clear Stem. And Danielle, tell me why this has been a solution, because you're reporting success rates of like 98%.
Yeah, so I actually have two businesses. One is San Diego Acne Clinic. It is an in-person treatment where people come in and they basically have the inverse of a dermatology appointment. We spend 90 minutes with people for their first visit. We go over what vitamins they're taking, how often they're exfoliating, what they're eating and when, every product that they're using down to the ingredients, and each one to make sure there's no pore clogging ingredients, their stress level, literally everything you can think of that could impact the skin. So at San Diego Acne Clinic, we do that detective work and then we do custom treatments. That model and that continuous communication and care with people and checking in on them and seeing them, regularly for the first part, that is where the success really comes from. I happen to have a biology background. I studied biology, genetics, and immunology. So I have a really good working understanding of the body. And that plays into the process that we use at San Diego Acne Clinic. And then after a few years, I realized that, the 80-20 rule was kicking in for 80% of my patients. The method, there was a core method that was working for them. It included, a structured skincare routine with certain components, and then the elimination of certain dietary and vitamin triggers, and, a clear pathway to, you remove the bad things, add the good things, essentially. And that can be a little different for people, but it was the same for most people. That's what we put into ClearStem. So ClearStem is our skincare and supplement line that is designed for those of us that are acne prone. The great thing about ClearStem, though, is that it's also simultaneously anti-aging and as non-toxic as we can possibly get.
So what's in it? Like, what are the key ingredients we should look for, whether we're getting ClearStem or going to the drugstore? What really works?
Removing pore clogging ingredients is huge. Sometimes it's not about adding things, it's about removing things. So we actually have a brilliant function on our website where you can copy and paste the ingredients, like say to your makeup or your sunscreen, copy and paste the ingredients, put it in that checker, hit enter, and it will tell you if there's something in it that's breaking you out. So that is like the number one step for everyone. That makes the biggest change for the most people. And then ingredients to look for in your skincare are, it's really about dialing in your exfoliation and your hydration without having any of the pore clogging ingredients that are just messing you up. So it's removing the bad things, adding the good things, dialing in your perfect exfoliation.
Okay, so and Danielle, let me say with Danielle for a second. Like, one of the things that we get told a lot, use the salicylic acid, and I feel like that used to help me a little bit. But salicylic acid, and use as far as exfoliation, should we just be using the topicals, or should we be doing a little circular kind of manual exfoliation?
Oh, I love that question. Both. You want a therapeutic combination of both. If you're acne prone, you produce more keratin protein and probably a little more oil than most people. So our skin really craves and needs more consistent, thorough exfoliation. You don't want to overstrip the skin. That's where the right formula comes into play. So our vitamin scrub is designed to be gentle for daily use. You use it for, like, say 8 to 10 seconds a few times a week, and it really does get rid of the excess keratin protein that we tend to make. You follow that up with our Clarity serum, which is mandelic acid, which is like salicylic's big brother. It's stronger than salicylic, but not as aggressive as some acids. So it's really that sweet spot. So you follow the physical exfoliation with a mandelic chemical exfoliation, and that really unclogs the pores, brightens the skin, and keeps that skin in like fresh healing mode. And that's the sweet spot, is having both.
Okay, so Kayleigh, I want to talk to you as a holistic nutritionist. What's the first thing you do? Like, I know teenagers can be tough because they eat what they want, and a lot of it comes from picking it up at a drive-through window or too much sugar, but I'm sure that's not good for all of us. But where do you start with people to try to clean up their diet? What are some major things they could start doing today?
Again, it's all about removing, just as Danielle was sharing how the very first thing to do is remove pore clogging ingredients. It's the same with diet. So it's taking a look, where are you adding so many ingredients and processed foods and artificial sugars? Like, where is all that junk that your body truly does not know what to do with? Our bodies are not built to process all of these brand new ingredients. Where can those be removed? Where can the excess snacking be removed? And first taking a look at, what do you provide in your kitchen? Because us as humans, if we see chips and cookies and crackers and all these things in our kitchen, of course we're gonna eat them. We're all human and they look really delicious. And so the first thing to do is to really wipe your pantry and kitchen clear of anything that's just going to be all that added junk to your body. Then it's just focusing on one meal a day and not making it so overcomplicated. These don't need to be breakfast, lunch, and dinners that are cooked for hours. Sometimes the simplest of ingredients are really the best for us. So really focusing on protein, veggies, and healthy carbohydrates. The carbohydrates I love are more vegetable based, and then maybe some rice and quinoa mixed in there, but always decide what your protein is. We love turkey. We love grass-fed sausage. We love grass-fed beef. And so where can you center around foods around that? So for lunches, love turkey slices with spinach or arugula and a little bit of mustard, and then make little turkey roll-ups. One of my favorite. Dinner, you can honestly, at Costco, you can run and get a bag of frozen veggies, have ground beef in the fridge or freezer on hand to thaw out a few hours before dinner, and mix up some ground beef, some veggies, throw some coconut aminos or gluten-free soy sauce in there, and you have a little Asian-inspired stir fry. So these can be really more simple than you would ever expect. Some of my favorite meals take less than 30 minutes and are less than 5 ingredients. But again, just mixed in together that protein, those veggies, maybe throwing a little sauce or a little coconut aminos on top, and there you have it.
And what about taking stuff on the inside? You guys talked about vitamins. I know one of the things that I interview a lot of naturopaths, and we talk about healing the gut. So probiotics, prebiotics. I can see Danielle nodding, and I know Kayleigh, you know a lot about this. But let's start with Danielle about healing the gut, what you think we need to really do, and then we'll move on to Kayleigh.
Healing the gut it's a really broad term. So we always like to have people think of the gut as 2 distinct parts. There's your stomach, where you break down the food. That's where your enzymes or your acids, that's where they physically break down your food. And then there's your gut microbiome. So I really think that it's beneficial to think of them as 2 distinct but tandem systems. A lot of people are focused on the gut microbiome. That's the probiotics, the prebiotics, and those are very important. We also like to really stress the importance of breaking down your food in your stomach. So that's where digestive enzymes come into play. That's where really slowly chewing your food and being really conscious when you're eating. So many of us are just like multitasking and shoveling food in our mouths, barely even chewing it, and we're losing that connection with our body that tells our system, hey, it's time to digest. So being intentional with when and how we eat is just as important as what we're eating. And when we think about gut health, we want to make sure that we're getting enough fiber. Fiber is extremely important. And take your probiotics with that fiber. And then adding digestive enzymes and tangy things. Anything tangy activates your digestive juices in your mouth, and that is like the first signal that your body is going to receive food and that it's time to break it down. So just the entire mindful eating process is really important for healing the gut and reestablishing that mind-body connection with it.
So tangy, when you talk about we've talked about maybe some apple cider vinegar before you're gonna have a high carb meal, or certainly in the first part. But when you say tangy, that would be tangy, but what else? Like lemon water, or what do you mean by tangy if people wanna incorporate some simple things?
Hot lemon water, you said it. Every time you go to a restaurant, here's just a little tip. Every time you go to a restaurant and the server comes to greet you, they want to know what type of water you'd like. You say hot water with a bunch of lemons. Like, let it roll off your tongue as automatic.
Okay.
So that way, it just helps it helps activate your digestive juices. It gets everything going. And it's very beneficial when you go to a restaurant because they're usually using a lot of things that you are not used to. So that's a really good tip. I love apple cider vinegar in the morning. It's fantastic. If you can stomach it, go for it. Other tangy things like herbs, green apples, kiwi, anything where it makes you salivate. Just think of it like that.
Okay. And Kayleigh, let me move over to you with so much I know in your educational background would be on the gut. That's where holistic nutrition, right, is centered. So we all have different needs, I guess. I've done a lot of even shows, people can go back on our own genetic testing and it'll show like what diets are best for our genomes. But in general, as people are listening, like what can we do as far as the gut?
So something that can be very much overlooked and not everyone wants to talk about, but is so important, is making sure you're going to the bathroom. So our bodies only have 2 ways of eliminating waste that doesn't belong in the body, and that's through going to the bathroom and through sweat. So if neither one of those are happening, your body's actually getting really backed up. Your kidneys are getting backed up, your liver's getting backed up, and that can lead to a cascade of different effects with your entire body, including acne. So like Danielle mentioned earlier, getting that fiber in, hydration, so simple, but cannot be overlooked. Making sure that your body is hydrated and with electrolytes. And we don't need to get crazy fancy with electrolytes. It can literally be a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of sea salt in your water. Even if you're on the go and you don't have lemons on hand, just get a little bit of real salt or Himalayan salt, sprinkle it in your water to make sure you're getting that extra hydration. Sodium actually helps your body absorb water correctly and lets your cells utilize it. So making sure that we're hydrated, we're eating our fiber, and we're doing different gut healthy things like taking your probiotic, like taking apple cider vinegar about 30 minutes before you eat. You never want to take apple cider vinegar after you eat. It actually slows down digestion. So hydrated apple cider vinegar. If you really struggle with breaking down food, digestive enzymes are really great to incorporate. They not only help you break down food, but absorb all the nutrients from your food. So your body is utilizing all that good food that you're feeding it. So eliminating waste from your body through going to the bathroom and sweat, you need to make sure that you're doing.
Yeah, okay. And digestive enzymes, just in case that's new to people, I have some of those from a very good vitamin company. Want to make sure we're buying quality. But these are something you could get from, if you're seeing a naturopath, fine, or a high grade vitamin company that you know is doing things clean. They actually sell something. It will say digestive enzymes on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It'll have digestive enzymes on it. There's amazing brands out there that are doing it. But yes, it helps you break down food and also absorb the nutrients that are in your food. So digestive enzymes are what we believe is one of the most amazing supplements that you can take that actually enhance your daily life and the foods that you're eating.
So if we want to try that as moms right now, do you have obviously, I'm going to do the caveat, always check with your doctor, but I have digestive enzymes right now from a great company, Designs for Health, right here in Connecticut, developed by doctors. I take it, but my kids who struggle with acne, should I give it to them?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course, always check with your doctor first. But from as much as we know, everyone can benefit from digestive enzymes. Of course, always ask first, but it's one of those ones that can't really hurt, can only help.
Okay. So Danielle, I want to go back
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if there was anyone who is contraindicated for digestive enzymes. They are so necessary for our modern life because we're eating so many synthetic foods that we don't naturally know how to break down that well. So everyone can use the assist.
Yeah. Okay. And Danielle, you actually went down there. I mean, I've had my son come to me. I'm like, Mom, my back broke out. You have to get me Accutane. And me as a mom, I'm like, no. There's lots of things we can do first. But you actually went down the road of doing Accutane. And why do you say that people need to know the truth about Accutane?
Gosh, I did Accutane 3 separate times and my acne still came right back. It really is a last-ditch effort in the pharmaceutical playbook. That's the Western medicine pharmaceutical playbook. They start you on antibiotics. If you're, a female, they put you on birth control. Then they try spironolactone. When all of those eventually fail, then they have Accutane as the last resort. And that really is it's the last stop in their playbook. So you need to understand that that's just one way of thinking about acne. And if it's not addressing the root cause, it's like taking the batteries out of the smoke alarm. Meanwhile, the fire is raging on. So if your root cause of acne is in your gut, it's in your diet, or it's your stress, or it's your liver, some sort of internal system, Accutane is just going to mask it and probably make it worse. And then you have a false sense of security that you don't need to change your diet, or you don't need to look at your stress. And meanwhile, those effects just keep raging as you get older. So there's a time and a place to consider Accutane if you have cystic acne, where it's like the scarring is going to be disfiguring and you really, are at your wit's end. There's a time and a place to consider it. And we don't like to shame anyone, because by the time you've gotten there, you've suffered so much, you'll do anything.
Yeah.
So no shame there. And I've guided people who are currently using Accutane. I generally tell them, okay, make sure you're doing a ton of omegas, make sure we're also eliminating the dietary triggers, and you're on a right skincare regimen. That way you get better results and they actually stay.
Yeah. I mean, both of you, Yeah, both of you have gorgeous skin. It would never, no one would ever imagine you ever broke out, but I want to let people to know that you went to the point of actually being on Accutane. And Kayleigh, I know you've worked with lots of people too. We only have 5 minutes left, so lab testing. This is something that you say is so important, but I don't think people even know where to get lab tested for acne or what they would look for.
We are so excited because in a few short weeks, we're launching our ClearStem Acne Lab test. So functional labs are so important because labs can help you identify and understand the root causes that are contributing to different health issues. Ours specifically is what's contributing to acne and overall skin health. It can be infections, stress, blood sugar dysregulation, which we talked a little bit about, poor digestion, deficiencies, hormone imbalances. So labs can actually help you tailor what you're doing to your root cause. Because as we know, we are so inundated with marketing and supplements, and this skincare will fix it. This supplement will fix everything. And many times we're overloading our bodies and going through a guess and check system when we don't actually know the root causes. So we can find out, hey, my root cause is blood sugar dysregulation, poor digestion, and a hormone imbalance. Okay, but which hormone imbalance? Because there's testosterone imbalances, there's estrogen imbalances, cortisol. We have a lot of hormones in our body. And if you're doing the wrong protocol or taking the wrong supplements for the hormone imbalance, you can actually be making it worse than when you started. So knowing what hormone imbalance you have will be able to give you the proper protocol. So through our functional lab testing, it's a simple blood test that you can get done. We will actually give you what your root cause of acne are and then give you a plan to help solve it. We won't just leave you to figure it out on your own. We'll have guidance and support that show, okay, here are my root causes. Now what do I do to get these back in balance?
So Danielle, this is clearstem.com, right? And this is where people can go, sort of like if they can't get to your San Diego acne clinic, this is going to bring it to folks here in Connecticut and other places.
Correct. This is all virtual. So it's clearstemskincare.com. And we're very available for people for consult. You know what I mean? Like our Instagram, we are on the DMs all the time. We actually have like a team of 6 people that are just answering questions. We have like email support. We have, we're always doing like free master classes. So there's a lot of information that people can get, but the actual test, the actual skincare and everything that we are talking about can be found on clearstemskincare.com.
clearstemskincare.com. Yeah, I got to add that part too. Okay, I want to ask you really quick, both of you, before we run out of time. A lot of women have already been put on birth control, or they're taking it because they want to take birth control. Would that affect the lab tests and being able to know where your hormones are and that sort of thing because you're already regulating?
So it can affect the hormonal part of it, but not everything else. So as far as infections, stress, blood sugar dysregulation, digestion deficiencies, it's not going to show that as much. It is shown that birth control creates a couple deficiencies, and you can easily look those up and actually help support your body while you're on birth control, so you're not having all those negative side effects. So again, the hormone part might be a little bit off, but we're going to look at it through that lens. And if you want to stay on birth control, how to actually support your body while you're on it, but also how to support your body if you choose to get off of it.
Okay, ladies, we are out of time, but Danielle, I really want to thank you, and Kayleigh as well. I know a lot of people want to get to the root of this, and it's so much confusing information out there. But again, they can follow you on Instagram, Facebook, clearstemskincare.com, and I think, Danielle, you probably also have some handles of Acne Guru, right?
Yes, I am Danielle, the Acne Guru.
Okay. All right, both of you, 2 women taking on the world, taking on acne with a company together. I appreciate you both being on Kara's Cures. You can follow me at Kara Sundlin. I'll also share this content there. Have a great day and be well.